No text can be read aloud. No text can be read aloud. Jones and Bartlett Learning. World Headquarters. Jones and Bartlett Learning. 5 Wall Street. Burlington, Massachusetts 01803. 978-443-5000. info@jblearning.com. www.jblearning.com. www.psglearning.com. Jones and Bartlett Learning books and products are available through most bookstores and online booksellers. To contact the Jones and Bartlett Learning Public Safety Group directly, call 800-832-0034, fax 978-443-8000, or visit our website, www.psglearning.com. Substantial discounts on bulk quantities of Jones and Bartlett Learning publications are available to corporations, professional associations, and other qualified organizations. For details and specific discount information, contact the Special Sales Department at Jones and Bartlett Learning via the above contact information or send an email to specialsales@jblearning.com. Copyright 2019 by Jones and Bartlett Learning, LLC, and Ascend Learning Company. All rights reserved. No part of the material protected by this copyright may be reproduced or utilized in any form, electronic or mechanical, including photocopying, recording, or by any information storage and retrieval system, without written permission from the copyright owner. The content, statements, views, and opinions herein are the sole expression of the respective authors and not that of Jones and Bartlett Learning, LLC. Reference herein to any specific commercial product, process, or service by trade name, trademark, manufacturer, or otherwise does not constitute or imply its endorsement or recommendation by Jones and Bartlett Learning, LLC, and such reference shall not be used for advertising or product endorsement purposes. All trademarks displayed are the trademarks of the parties noted herein. Introduction to Basic Cardiac Dysrhythmias, 5th edition is an independent publication and has not been authorized, sponsored, or otherwise approved by the owners of the trademarks or service marks referenced in this product. There may be images in this book that feature models. These models do not necessarily endorse, represent, or participate in the activities represented in the images. Any screenshots in this product are for educational and instructive purposes only. Any individuals and scenarios featured in the case studies throughout this product may be real or fictitious, but are used for instructional purposes only. The procedures and protocols in this book are based on the most current recommendations of responsible medical sources. The publisher, however, makes no guarantee as to, and assumes no responsibility for, the correctness, sufficiency, or completeness of such information or recommendations. Other or additional safety measures may be required under particular circumstances. This textbook is intended solely as a guide to the appropriate procedures to be employed when rendering emergency care to the sick and injured. It is not intended as a statement of the standards of care required in any particular situation, because circumstances and the patient's physical condition can vary widely from one emergency to another. Nor is it intended that this textbook shall in any way advise emergency personnel concerning legal authority to perform the activities or procedures discussed. Such local determination should be made only with the aid of legal counsel. 13,968-6. Production credits. General Manager and Executive Publisher, Kimberly Brophy. VP, Product Development, Christine Emerton. EMS Product Manager, Tiffany Slitter. Editorial Assistant, Ashley Crocombe. Director of Production, Jenny Alcarivo. Associate Production Editor, Robert Furrier. VP, Sales, Public Safety Group, Matthew Maniscalco. Director of Marketing Operations, Brian Rooney. VP, Manufacturing and Inventory Control, Therese Huddle. Composition, S4 Carlisle Publishing Services. Cover and Text Design, Scott Moden. Rights and Media Specialist, Robert Boder. Media Development Editor, Troy Liston. Cover image, title page, part opener, chapter opener. Pixelogic Studio /Science Photo Library /Getty. Printing and binding, LSC Communications. Cover printing, LSC Communications. Library of Congress cataloging and publication data. Names, Atwood, Sandra, author. Stanton, Cheryl, author. Story Davenport. Jenny, author. Title, Introduction to Basic Cardiac Dysrhythmia /Sandra Atwood, Cheryl. Stanton, Jenny Story Davenport. Description, 5th edition. Burlington, Massachusetts, Jones and Bartlett. Learning, 2019 includes bibliographical references and index. Identifiers, LCCN 201-801-1189 EISBN 9781284139709. Subjects, MESH, arrhythmias, cardiac electrocardiography. Classification, LCCRC 685.A65 NLMWG 330 DTC 616.1/28 DC 23. LC record available at https://lccn.loc.gov/2018011189. 6048. Printed in the United States of America. 22/21/2019 181098765431. We lovingly dedicate this book to our husband. Book to our husbands, Phil, Ken, and Tracy. And to our children, Lee, Alicia, Melinda, Michael, and Jim. We also lovingly dedicate this 5th edition of our book to Jenny Story Davenport. We miss you, sweetie. Header image, copyright Getty Images /Science Photo Library RF. Brief contents. 1. Anatomy and physiology. 2. Monitoring and telemetry. 3. Sinus and atrial dysrhythmias. 4. Junctional dysrhythmias. 5. Heart blocks. 6. Ventricular dysrhythmias. 7. Funny-looking beats and pacemaker rhythms. 8. Dysrhythmia review. 9. Medication review and adult treatment guidelines. 10. Dysrhythmia interpretation practice. 11. Case studies. 12. Introduction to basic 12-lead ECG interpretation. Answer section. Abbreviation list. References. Heart rate review. Glossary. Index. Flashcards. No text can be read aloud. Header image, copyright Getty Images /Science Photo Library RF. Preface. Introduction to Basic Cardiac Dysrhythmias was originally written to help the beginning learner unravel the mysteries of those squiggly lines seen on the monitor and rhythm strip. Our intent is to explain what happens inside the heart when a dysrhythmia is seen, as well as how the dysrhythmia appears on a monitor or rhythm strip. Although the text is designed for students with no medical background, the learner with cardiac knowledge should find it helpful as a review of dysrhythmias and treatment. The term dysrhythmia is used in the title and throughout the text because we believe it is an accurate description of the information presented. We have used simple medical terminology whenever feasible, and we have included numerous illustrations to make learning as easy as possible. The hearts shown in the illustrations are not drawn to scale the atria, atrioventricular junctional area, and septum are drawn larger than normal, to show the conduction pathway of the heart clearly. The material is presented using a sequential approach, following the normal electrical conduction pathway of the heart. Most rhythm strips are from a lead 2 placement, and all reflect examples of cardiac rhythms found in the adult patient. Chapter 1 covers the basic anatomy and physiology of the cardiac, pulmonary, and vascular systems. Corresponding illustrations are provided for additional clarification. Medical terms are introduced with simple explanations and definitions. Chapter 2 explains the equipment and supplies used in telemetry, the components of the cardiac complex, and information for interpreting rhythm strips. Chapters 3 to 7 explain basic cardiac dysrhythmias, following the normal, sequential conduction pathway of the heart, i.e., atrial, junctional, and ventricular dysrhythmias, along with heart blocks, aberrant and escape beats, and pacemaker rhythms. Chapter 8 offers a concise review of all dysrhythmias discussed in the book, providing sample rhythm strips and brief explanations of the criteria involved in identifying each dysrhythmia. Chapter 9 focuses on the treatment of basic dysrhythmias and follows current American Heart Association standards. Chapter 10 includes at least one example of each dysrhythmia shown in the book, and it provides space for the reader to evaluate the measurements of each component, describe abnormal complexes, and identify the dysrhythmia. Chapter 11 presents various case studies/scenarios for additional review of dysrhythmias and treatment. Chapter 12 offers a basic, simplified approach to interpreting a 12-lead ECG, including appropriate terminology. Review questions and rhythm strips can be found at the end of chapters 1 through 7 and 12 to assist readers in measuring their progress in learning. Crossword puzzles are included throughout the book to assist in learning and just for fun. An updated answer section, glossary, abbreviation list, heart rate review, index, and 2 sections of flashcards can be found at the end of the book. Additional rhythm strips are available with the online student and instructor resources for review. We gratefully acknowledge the efforts of others who were instrumental in the completion of this text. Many thanks to all of our nursing friends, physicians, and other colleagues for their encouragement, and to all the nurses and monitor technicians who attended our courses and provided such valuable feedback about our original study guide. Also, many thanks to all the students for their continued comments and evaluations of this book. Last, but certainly not least, our loving thanks to our families for their patience, understanding, and encouragement. Header image, copyright Getty Images / Science Photo Library RF. Introduction to the 5th edition. We have made several changes in the 5th edition of Introduction to Basic Cardiac Dysrhythmias. These changes include the complete revision of the medication review and treatment guidelines in Chapter 9, based on the 2015 Emergency Cardiovascular Care Guidelines from the American Heart Association. These changes and additions also include the following new information. Updated illustrations and materials. Additional and updated definitions of terminology. Additional information on complex components, PRIT, ST, and QT. Updated information on artificial pacemakers, implantable cardioverter defibrillators, ICDs, and automated external defibrillators, AEDs. Updated crossword puzzles. Updated case studies in Chapter 11. Revised medication flashcards for review of drug treatments. Expanded and updated glossary and index. Abbreviation list updated to current standards of the Joint Commission. Addition of online instructor and student resources with rhythm strip review and additional word puzzles. Updated heart rate review table. Completely new, modern design with the same familiar, easy to follow feel. Note to the reader. Although the authors and the publisher have made every attempt to check the accuracy of this text, the possibility of error can never be eliminated. At the time of publication, the information presented here represents accepted practices, but is not offered as a standard of care. It is the reader's responsibility to learn and follow the protocols of his or her locality and to follow the direction of a licensed physician. It is also the reader's responsibility to stay informed of procedural changes and new drugs used in emergency cardiac care. Header image, copyright Getty Images / Science Photo Library RF. Reviewer acknowledgements. The authors and the publisher wish to acknowledge and thank the many reviewers of this book, who devoted countless hours to intense review. Their comments were invaluable in helping to develop and fine-tune the manuscript. Terry L. Allison, DNP, ACNPBC, FON. Vanderbilt University School of Nursing. Nashville, Tennessee. Kathleen Ballman, DNP, APRN, ACNPBC, SEN. University of Cincinnati College of Nursing. Cincinnati, Ohio. Edward L. Bays, BS, NRP. Mount West Community and Technical College. Huntington, West Virginia. William Black, NRMP, CRAT. Pacemaker Technician. Margaretville Memorial Hospital EMS. Margaretville, New York. The Heart Center. Poughkeepsie, New York. Wayne D. Burdett, Jr., MS, NRP. Emory University. Atlanta, Georgia. Edward Chico Caballero, NRP, CCPC, FPC. University of Hawaii Kapiolani Community College. Honolulu, Hawaii. Joshua Chan, BA, NRP, FPC. Flight Paramedic. Lifelink 3. Minneapolis, Minnesota. EMS Educator. Glacial Ridge Health Systems. Glenwood, Minnesota. Ted Kyldes, BA, Fire Captain / Paramedic. Paramedic Program Coordinator. San Diego Fire Rescue Department Paramedic Program. San Diego, California. Kevin Curry, as NRP, XMP. United Training Center. Lewiston, Maine. James Ticklement, MBA, NRP. Pro EMS Center for Medics. Cambridge, Massachusetts. Jeanette Edwards Banks, NRP, BS, Med. James City County Fire Department. Williamsburg, Virginia. Bob Elling, MPA, Paramedic. High Quality Endeavors, Ltd. Lake Placid, New York. Reuben Farnsworth, CCPC, NRP. President. Rockstar Education and Consulting. Cedar Edge, Colorado. Fidelo Garcia, Paramedic. President / owner. Professional EMS Education. Grand Junction, Colorado. Joseph J. Hamilton, Posse, NRP. Mount Nebo Training. Provo, Utah. Mickey Houston, ARPN, MS, ANPBC, alumnus CCRN. Northern Arizona Healthcare. Flagstaff, Arizona. Dom Kimlicott, NRP, XMP. Adjunct EMS faculty. Midstate Technical College. Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. Nicola Area Technical College. Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Clintonville Area Ambulance Training Division. Clintonville, Wisconsin. Amanda McDonald Mott, NRP. University of South Alabama. Department of EMS Education. Mobile, Alabama. Benjamin McKenna, BS, NRP. University of South Alabama. Department of EMS Education. Mobile, Alabama. Kristen N. McKenna, BS, NRP. University of South Alabama. Department of EMS Education. Mobile, Alabama. Gregory S. Neiman, MS, NRP, NCE, CEMA, VA. EMS Community Liaison. Virginia Commonwealth University Health. Richmond, Virginia. Sean P. Newton, BS, NRP. Occupational Program Director. Mesa Community College. Paramedic Education Program. Mesa, Arizona. Jim O'Connor, paramedic. Columbus Division of Fire. Columbus, Ohio. Hocking College. Nelsonville, Ohio. Jonathan R. Powell, B.S., NRP. University of South Alabama. Department of EMS Education. Mobile, Alabama. Curtis A. Rhodes, AAS, NRP, XMP. Gordon Cooper Technology Center. Shawnee, Oklahoma. Becky Ridenauer, PharmD. Progress West Hospital. O'Fallon, Missouri. Janice Robbins, RNC. St. Charles Medical Center. Bend, Oregon. Chris Rock, RN, MSN. Paramedic Program Director. Tacoma Fire Department. Tacoma, Washington. Mark Spangenberg, CCP, ECGBC. Milwaukee Area Technical College. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Christopher Tauzo, MS, FNPC, NRP. Montgomery County Fire and Rescue. Gaithersburg, Maryland. Scott Vanderkooy, BS, NRP. University of South Alabama. Department of EMS Education. Mobile, Alabama. Dustin Williams, BS, NRP. Christiansburg, Virginia. Chapter Opener Image, copyright Getty Images / Science Photo Library RF. Chapter 1. Anatomy and Physiology. Learning objectives. On completion of this chapter, the reader should be able to list the 2 main organs of the cardiopulmonary system. Identify the 4 heart chambers, 3 cardiac muscle layers, and 4 heart valves. Explain the basic function of the lungs. Describe the 3 main types of blood vessels. Explain the causes and 4 common symptoms of myocardial infarction, MI. Describe the flow of the drop of blood from the vena cava through the heart and lungs to the aorta. Explain how to measure cardiac output, CA. Explain the 4 characteristics of cardiac cells. Define the following terms: polarization, depolarization, and repolarization. Describe the movement of an electrical impulse that is following the normal cardiac conduction pathways. Explain the actions of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems on the heart rate. Chapter at a glance. Anatomy, P2. Physiology, P6. Electrophysiology, P7. Chapter review, P10. Key terms to look for: angina, automaticity, autonomic nervous system, cardiac, cardiac output, CA, conductivity, contractility, cyanosis, depolarization, dyspnea, excitability, heart, heart/lung circulation, heart rate, HR, hypertension, ischemia, lungs, myocardial infarction, MI, heart attack, perfusion, polarization, pulmonary, repolarization, stroke volume, SV. Anatomy. The main organs of the cardiopulmonary system are the heart and lungs. These organs work together to circulate and oxygenate blood and distribute it through blood vessels to all body cells. Heart. The adult. Heart is a hollow, muscular organ that is located in the chest cavity, between the sternum, breastbone, and the spinal column. The normal adult heart weighs about 1 pound, 0.45 kilograms, and is approximately the size of an adult fist. Figure 1:1. Figure 1:1 adult heart. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. The heart functions as a double-sided pump. The pumping action of the right and left sides occurs when the muscular walls of each heart chamber contract, squeeze, causing blood to be forced out of the chambers. Note: the hearts presented in this book are drawn for simplicity and ease of understanding. They are not drawn to scale. Heart chambers. The heart has 4 chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. Figure 1:2. The atria, plural for atrium, are thin-walled upper chambers that contain primarily endocardial and epicardial tissue. The atria function as reservoirs, or holding areas, for blood. Figure 1:2. The 4 chambers of the heart. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. The ventricles are the lower chambers of the heart. The right ventricle has a thin muscular wall, since it pumps blood only a short distance to the lungs. The muscle of the left ventricular wall is much thicker, because it has to pump blood throughout the body to all body cells, requiring much greater pressure than the right ventricle. The heart is further divided by a muscular wall called the septum. Anatomy. The main organs of the cardiopulmonary system are the heart and lungs. These organs work together to circulate and oxygenate blood and distribute it through blood vessels to all body cells. The adult. Heart is a hollow, muscular organ that is located in the chest cavity, between the sternum, breastbone, and the spinal column. The normal adult heart weighs about 1 pound, 0.45 kilograms, and is approximately the size of an adult fist. Figure 1 to 1. Figure 1 to 1 adult heart. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. The heart functions as a double-sided pump. The pumping action of the right and left sides occurs when the muscular walls of each heart chamber contract, squeeze, causing blood to be forced out of the chambers. Note: the hearts presented in this book are drawn for simplicity and ease of understanding. They are not drawn to scale. Heart chambers. The heart has 4 chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. Figure 1 to 2. The atria, plural for atrium, are thin-walled upper chambers that contain primarily endocardial and epicardial tissue. The atria function as reservoirs, or holding areas, for blood. Figure 1 to 2. The 4 chambers of the heart. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. The ventricles are the lower chambers of the heart. The right ventricle has a thin muscular wall, since it pumps blood only a short distance to the lungs. The muscle of the left ventricular wall is much thicker, because it has to pump blood throughout the body to all body cells, requiring much greater pressure than the right ventricle. The heart is further divided by a muscular wall called the septum. The septum separates the atria, interatrial septum, and ventricles, interventricular septum, into right and left sides. Figure 1 to 3. The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs, while the left ventricle pumps blood throughout the body. Figure 1 to 3. The septum divides the right and left sides of the heart. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. The atria contract at the same time, followed by the ventricles contracting at the same time. These contractions usually occur in a rhythmic beat. The pumping action of the left ventricle produces a pulse, or wave of pressure, which can be counted. This pulse is called the heart rate, HR, and usually is measured as heartbeats per minute. Heart muscle. The heart is made of specialized muscle tissue that is not found anywhere else in the body. This specialized tissue forms the cardiac, pertaining to the heart wall, and it has 3 layers. The inner layer of the cardiac wall, called the endocardium, lines the chambers of the heart and covers the valves. The middle layer of the cardiac wall is the myocardium. This layer is the heart muscle that contracts and provides the pumping action needed to circulate blood. The epicardium is the outer layer of the cardiac muscle and is a thin protective membrane that covers the outside of the heart. The heart is contained in a loose-fitting membrane called the pericardial sac. Figure 1 to 4. A small amount of fluid, 15 to 50 ml, can be found in the space between the epicardium and pericardium. This fluid, pericardial fluid, acts as a lubricant, allowing the heart to move within the sac as it beats. Figure 1 to 4. 3 layers of cardiac tissue and pericardial sac. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. Heart valves. The heart has 4 valves that are covered with endocardial tissue. These 4 valves are located in the following areas of the heart. Figure 1 to 5. Figure 1 to 5. Heart valves. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. Tricuspid valve between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Pulmonic valve between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. Mitral valve between the left atrium and the left ventricle. Aortic valve between the left ventricle and the aorta. These valves are flap-like structures that open and close in response to the changing pressure within the atria and ventricles, caused by the pumping action of the heart. The opening and closing of the heart valves permits the flow of blood in a forward direction and prevents blood from flowing backward. For example, in the left side of the heart, as the blood enters the empty left atrium, the blood causes increased pressure against the atrial walls. Once the atrial pressure becomes greater than the ventricular pressure, the mitral valve opens, allowing most of the blood to flow into the left ventricle. The atrium then gives a mild contraction, atrial kick, emptying the remaining blood into the left ventricle. As the left ventricle contracts, the mitral valve closes and the aortic valve opens. The closed mitral valve prevents the flow of blood back into the left atrium. The open aortic valve allows the blood to be pumped from the heart and then carried throughout the body, to all body cells. The loop dub noises caused by the normal closing of the valves are known as heart sounds. In an adult, a murmur is an abnormal sound made by blood flowing through a valve that is not functioning correctly. This sound can be heard when listening to the heart with a stethoscope. Lungs. The main organs of the pulmonary, pertaining to the lungs, system are the right and left lungs. The lungs are large, spongy organs that are located in the chest cavity, slightly behind and on either side of the heart. Each lung is encased in a protective sac called the pleural sac. The main function of the lungs is to remove carbon dioxide from the blood and to replace it with oxygen. Figure 126. Figure 126 lungs and air pathways from trachea to alveoli. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. This exchange begins when air, containing oxygen, is inhaled through the nose or mouth into the trachea. The trachea is a hollow tube that extends downward for approximately 4.5 inches, 11.4 centimeters, where it then divides into two slightly smaller tubes, called bronchi, one for each lung. After the bronchi enter the lungs, each bronchus further divides into smaller tubes, called bronchioles. The air continues traveling through the bronchioles as they further divide into smaller and smaller tubes and finally end in the alveoli. See figure 126. The alveoli are tiny sacs of tissue that are arranged in grape-like clusters. The alveoli are surrounded by very small blood vessels called capillaries. The actual exchange of carbon dioxide from the capillary blood for oxygen from the inhaled air takes place in these tiny sacs. Because the walls of both the alveoli and the capillaries are only 1 cell thick, the exchange of carbon dioxide for oxygen takes place easily. Blood vessels. Blood vessels are hollow tubes composed of smooth muscle that are located throughout the body. Their primary purpose is transportation. They carry oxygenated blood to all body cells and then transport blood with carbon dioxide from the body cells to the lungs. This movement of blood through an organ or part of the body, such as the cells of the heart, is known as perfusion. The three main types of blood vessels are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Figure 127. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and veins carry blood to the heart. The exchange of nutrients and waste products for the body cells takes place in the capillaries. Figure 127. Gradual change in the size of blood vessels and vessel walls. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. Arteries. Arteries are blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood away from the heart to all parts of the body. Arteries have the thickest walls of all blood vessels because they must withstand the pumping pressure of the heart. The aorta is the largest artery in the body. The arteries divide into arterioles, which are smaller blood vessels with thinner walls. The arterioles connect arteries to capillaries. Veins. Veins are vessels that carry blood with carbon dioxide from the body cells back to the heart. The venous walls are thinner than the arterial walls. Peripheral veins, in the arms and legs, contain tiny valves, similar to cardiac valves, which prevent the backward flow of blood. The inferior and the superior vena cavae are the largest veins in the body and do not have these types of valves. The smallest veins are called venules, and they connect veins to capillaries. Note. A major exception to the definition of arteries and veins is found in the heart/lung circulation. The pulmonary arteries carry blood with carbon dioxide to the lungs, and the pulmonary veins carry blood with oxygen to the heart. Capillaries. Capillaries, the smallest blood vessels in the body, also have the thinnest walls of any blood vessel. The exchange of oxygen and waste products between the blood and the body cells takes place through the capillary walls, which are only 1 cell thick. Coronary arteries. The heart muscle receives its blood supply from coronary arteries. These special arteries branch off the aorta and supply oxygenated blood to each portion of the heart muscle. For example, the right coronary artery divides into the marginal artery and posterior descending arteries, which again divide into smaller arteries, figure 1 to 8. Therefore, the right coronary artery and its branches are able to provide oxygenated blood to the muscle tissue of the right atrium, the left ventricle, and the right ventricle. The left coronary artery branches, divides, into the left anterior descending artery and the circumflex artery, which both divide into smaller arteries. The left coronary artery and its branches provide oxygenated blood to the muscle tissue of the left atrium, the left ventricle, and the right ventricle. Most of this oxygenated blood flows to the cardiac muscle between heartbeats, contractions, while the myocardium is resting. Figure 1 to 8 coronary arteries, blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to cardiac muscle cells. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. Myocardial infarction. Coronary arteries may become partially or completely blocked by blood clots or from a buildup of cholesterol inside the artery walls. A spasm of the blood vessel wall may also cause a temporary blockage of the artery. Myocardial infarction. Coronary arteries may become partially or completely blocked by blood clots or from a buildup of cholesterol inside the artery walls. A spasm of the blood vessel wall may also cause a temporary blockage of the artery. When a blockage occurs in a coronary artery, the cardiac muscle that is usually nourished by that artery does not receive enough oxygen. This decreased supply of oxygen to tissue is called ischemia. Cardiac ischemia often causes chest pain, known as angina or angina pectoris. The pain may be mild or severe. Angina is caused by an increased demand of oxygen in the heart muscle. The symptoms occur after physical exercise, after eating a large meal, in stressful situations, or when a person is exposed to extreme temperatures. The classic symptoms of angina may be described as a vague, dull ache, indigestion, heartburn, that is not relieved by antacids, pressure like an elephant sitting on my chest, or crushing, squeezing tightness in the chest like having a tight belt around my chest. Angina may remain centered in the chest or may travel to the left shoulder, either arm, the jaw, or the upper back. Older adults, women, and patients with long-standing history of diabetes are more likely to have atypical symptoms such as fatigue, lack of pain or symptoms, or pain in the jaw or upper back. Stable angina usually starts with physical exertion and is relieved by rest. Medication, such as nitroglycerin, may be used to relieve the pain. If the episodes of chest pain increase in frequency or severity, stable angina becomes unstable angina, UA. Unstable angina is not relieved by rest, may be more painful than usual, and may also cause nausea, vomiting, difficulty breathing, and sweating. Unstable angina is a serious symptom that may indicate an increase in the myocardial ischemia or a decrease in the patient's ability to tolerate the ischemia. Angina that is not diagnosed and treated usually leads to myocardial infarction, death of cardiac tissue. The death of cardiac tissue may decrease the ability of the cardiac muscle to contract and pump blood effectively. Note: acute coronary syndrome, ACS, is a term used to describe either unstable angina or myocardial infarction. A. Myocardial infarction, MI, heart attack, can affect any area of the heart muscle. The location of the MI may cause an interruption in the cardiac electrical conduction pathways. This type of interruption may cause dysrhythmias, abnormal cardiac rhythms. Dysrhythmias are discussed in chapters 3 through 7. Symptoms of an MI, which usually last longer than 15 to 20 minutes, may include chest pain or pressure that is described as a heavy feeling, a dull ache, a crushing sensation, or indigestion that is not relieved by antacids. Older adults, women, and patients with long-standing history of diabetes are more likely to have atypical symptoms such as fatigue, lack of pain or symptoms, or pain in the jaw or upper back. The patient may deny that he or she is having a heart attack, saying, "It's just something I ate." The discomfort, pain, or pressure may radiate, move, down the left arm or up into the neck, jaw, shoulders, or back. Other symptoms may include nausea, vomiting, difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, anxiety, a feeling of impending doom, ashen, pale or blue-gray colored skin, blood to extreme sweating, extreme fatigue, confusion, or loss of consciousness. Chest pain or discomfort with other symptoms may indicate either unstable angina or an MI and requires immediate medical treatment. Physiology. Heart/lung circulation. Transportation of blood from the body cells through the heart and lungs and back to the body cells is accomplished by the heart/lung circulation. The right side of the heart receives blood from the inferior and superior vena cava and sends this blood to the lungs. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is removed from the blood and exchanged for oxygen. The oxygenated blood then flows to the left side of the heart, which pumps the blood into the aorta. Blood is circulated through the heart and lungs in the following order. Figure 1 to 9. Figure 1 to 9 blood circulation in the heart and lungs. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. Inferior and superior vena cava, rightward arrow, right atrium, rightward arrow, tricuspid valve, rightward arrow, right ventricle, rightward arrow, pulmonic valve, rightward arrow, pulmonary arteries, rightward arrow, lungs, rightward arrow, pulmonary veins, rightward arrow, left atrium, rightward arrow, mitral valve, rightward arrow, left ventricle, rightward arrow, aortic valve, rightward arrow, aorta, rightward arrow, rest of the body, including the heart. Cardiac output. One method of measuring how efficiently the heart is pumping and circulating blood to the body cells is by determining the cardiac output, CO. CO is the amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle in 1 minute. CO is measured by multiplying the heart rate, HR, the number of times the left ventricle contracts in 1 minute, by the stroke volume, SV, which is the amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle with each beat. The formula is CO equals SV times HR. Note. CO cardiac output is the amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle in 1 minute. The normal amount is usually 4,000 to 8,000 ml, depending on body size, age, and gender. SV stroke volume is the amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle with each contraction or beat, approximately 70 ml. HR heart rate is the number of times the left ventricle contracts in 1 minute. The normal rate is 60 to 100 beats/min. Example, CO equals SV times HR. The stroke volume is 70 ml and the heart rate is 80 beats/min. CO equals 70 times 80 equals 5,600 ml equals normal CO. When the CO is abnormal, the heart will try to balance it by changing either the SV or the HR. For example, if a person exercises and becomes physically fit, the SV usually increases because the heart muscle is stronger and pumps more blood with each beat. The HR then decreases to keep the CO within the normal range. Example, CO equals SV times HR. With an increased SV of 90 ml and a decreased HR of 60 beats/min, CO equals 90 times 60 equals 5,400 ml equals normal CO. The opposite is also true. When the heart cannot pump the usual amount of blood because of injury or disease, the SV decreases. The HR then increases to maintain a normal CO. Example, CO equals SV times HR. With a decreased SV of 50 ml and an increased HR of 110 beats/min, CO equals 50 times 110 equals 5,500 ml equals normal CO. If the heart is unable to increase the SV or the HR, the CO will decrease. Example, CO equals SV times HR. With a decreased SV of 50 ml and HR of 60 beats/min, CO equals 50 times 60 equals 3,000 ml equals decreased CO. Poor CO may cause damage to major organs, such as the kidneys, heart, and brain. This damage occurs because there is not enough oxygenated blood being delivered to these vital organs, resulting in ischemia. Poor CO may be indicated by any combination of the following signs and symptoms. Ashen, pale, cool, clammy, damp, skin. Nausea and vomiting, N/V. Dizziness, weakness, faintness. Shortness of breath, sob. Hypertension, decreased blood pressure. Dyspnea, difficulty breathing. Tachycardia, rapid heart rate. Diaphoresis, excessive sweating. Mild to severe chest pain. Confusion or disorientation. Cyanosis, blue-gray color to skin, lips, and nail beds. Decreased urinary output. Unresponsiveness/altered level of consciousness. Electrophysiology. All muscle tissue contracts in response to an electrical stimulus or impulse. For example, skeletal muscle will contract after receiving stimulation from a nerve. However, cardiac muscle is unique. Not only can it respond to an electrical impulse, but it can also generate its own electrical impulse with specialized pacemaker cells. The following terms explain 4 common characteristics of cardiac cells. Automaticity, ability of cardiac pacemaker cells to generate or initiate their own electrical impulses. Excitability, irritability, the ability of cardiac cells to respond to an electrical stimulus. When a cardiac cell is highly irritable, less stimulus is required to cause a contraction. Conductivity, ability of cardiac cells to transmit an electrical stimulus to other cardiac cells. Contractility, ability of cardiac cells to shorten, causing cardiac muscle contraction in response to an electrical stimulus. Contractility is a mechanical function of the heart. Automaticity, excitability, and conductivity are electrical functions. Depolarization and repolarization. The following terms explain the phases of the normal electrical activity of the heart. Polarization phase of readiness, the muscle is relaxed and the cardiac cells are ready to receive an electrical impulse. Depolarization phase of contraction, the cardiac cells have transmitted an electrical impulse, usually causing the cardiac muscle to contract. Repolarization recovery phase, the muscle has contracted and the cells are returning to a ready state. All tissue, including cardiac muscle, is made of many individual cells that contain chemicals such as potassium and sodium. The cells normally have potassium, K+, on the inside of the cell and sodium, Na+, on the outside. The inside of the cells is negatively charged. Differences in polarity across cell membranes indicate a cell's ability to do work. Polarized cells are said to be in the ready state. Figure 1-10a. Figure 1 to 10 electrical conduction within cardiac cells showing exchange of sodium and potassium. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. When a polarized cardiac cell receives a chemical or electrical stimulus, special gates located in the cell membrane open and allow potassium to move to the outside of the cell and sodium to move to the inside of the cell. This shift in ion concentration leads to a state of depolarization. Depolarized cells are said to be in a rest state, and they are unable to respond to any further electrical impulses until they are repolarized. Figure 1-10b. The moment the cell is depolarized, the potassium re-enters the cells and the sodium leaves, causing the cell to become repolarized. Not all cells repolarize at the same rate, so some cardiac cells are able to conduct an additional electrical impulse sooner than others. Figure 1-10c. Electrical conduction pathways. The heart has several areas containing many cells capable of initiating electrical impulses. These areas are called pacemaker sites. The heart's primary pacemaker is the sinoatrial, SA, node. The normal electrical conduction of the heart occurs in the following order. Figure 1 to 11. Figure 1 to 11 normal electrical conduction pathway of the heart. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning. Sinoatrial, SA, node rightward arrow intraatrial and internodal pathways rightward arrow atrioventricular node, AB node, rightward arrow bundle of his rightward arrow bundle branches rightward arrow Purkinje fibers rightward arrow ventricular muscle. Sinoatrial node. The SA node is located in the upper portion of the right atrium and is called the pacemaker of the heart. The SA node initiates an electrical impulse that travels downward throughout the muscle of both atria. This impulse travels from the right atrium to the left by way of an intraatrial conduction pathway, causing depolarization of both the right and left atria. The same impulse is also transmitted from the SA node to the atrioventricular, AB, node through 3 internodal conduction pathways. The SA node usually generates 60 to 100 electrical impulses per minute. Atrioventricular node. The AB node is located in the general area of the lower right atrium near the septum. The AB node serves as an impulse delay mechanism, allowing the atria to completely contract and fully fill the ventricles. The AB node then transmits the electrical impulse to the AB junctional area, which subsequently sends the impulse to the bundle of his. If the SA node fails to function, or if the rate of SA nodal activity falls below the normal pacemaking rate of the AB junction takes over the role of setting the heart's pace and functions as a secondary pacemaker. The AB junction generates impulses at a rate of 40 to 60 per minute. Bundle of his. The bundle of his, located below the AB node, continues transmitting the electrical impulse to the bundle branches. Bundle branches. The lower portion of the bundle of his divides into a right bundle branch, leading into the right ventricle, and a left bundle branch, leading into the left ventricle. The bundle branches continue transmitting the electrical impulse to the Purkinje fibers. Purkinje fibers. Extending from the bundle branches into the muscular walls of the ventricles, the Purkinje fibers conduct the electrical impulse from the bundle branches to cells of the ventricular muscle, stimulating depolarization of ventricular muscle cells, resulting in ventricular contraction. Ventricular muscle. The cells of the ventricular muscle receive an electrical stimulus from the Purkinje fibers and contract. If the SA node and the AB junction do not initiate an electrical impulse, an impulse can be generated from any pacemaker cell in the ventricles, including the Purkinje fibers or the bundle branches. Impulses initiated below the level of the AB node are usually generated at a rate of 20 to 40 impulses per minute. Autonomic nervous system. The electrical conduction system of the heart is affected by the autonomic nervous system. The function of the autonomic nervous system is to maintain the body in a normal state by controlling several organs, including the heart, as well as the blood vessels. This control is done automatically, without a person being aware that it is happening. The autonomic nervous system is divided into two parts, the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. The sympathetic nervous system prepares the body to react in times of stress or emergencies, increasing cardiac output by increasing the heart rate, blood pressure, and force of cardiac contractions. This is known as the fight or flight response. The sympathetic nervous system can be stimulated by anger, pain, fright, caffeine, and stimulant drugs. The parasympathetic nervous system affects the heart in the opposite way by decreasing the rate of cardiac contractions. This reaction usually occurs after the stress or emergency is over, allowing the body to restore energy. The parasympathetic nerves can be stimulated by straining to have a bowel movement, a urinary bladder that is too full, vomiting, and some drugs. Medications are available to reverse the effects of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems on the heart, when necessary. For example, when the parasympathetic nerves have been stimulated and decrease the heart rate too much, drugs such as atropine block the parasympathetic nerves. This allows the heart rate to increase to a more normal rate, so as to maintain adequate cardiac output. Chapter Review. Key terms. Angina, chest pain caused by cardiac ischemia. Automaticity, ability of cardiac cells to initiate or generate an electrical impulse. Autonomic nervous system, part of the nervous system that regulates involuntary functions such as blood pressure, heart rate, and respiratory rate. Cardiac pertaining to the heart. Cardiac output, CO, amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle in 1 minute. Measured by multiplying the heart rate, HR, by the stroke volume, SV. Conductivity, ability of cardiac cells to transmit an electrical impulse. Contractility, ability of cardiac cells to respond to an electrical impulse by contracting. Cyanosis, blue-gray color of the lips, skin, and nail beds caused by lack of oxygen. Depolarization, conduction of an electrical impulse through the heart muscle, normally causes a cardiac muscle contraction. Dyspnea, difficult or uncomfortable breathing. Excitability, ability of cardiac cells to respond to an electrical impulse. Heart, muscular organ that pumps blood to the body cells. Heart/lung circulation, transportation of blood from the body cells, through the heart and lungs, and back to the body cells. Heart rate, HR, the number of times the left ventricle contracts in 1 minute. Hypertension, decreased blood pressure, below the patient's normal blood pressure. Ischemia, decreased supply of oxygen to the cells. Lungs, organs that remove carbon dioxide from the blood, replacing it with oxygen. Myocardial infarction, MI, heart attack, death of cardiac tissue. Perfusion, movement of blood through a specific organ or part of the body, such as the cells of the heart muscle. Polarization, cardiac ready state, the cells are ready to respond to an electrical impulse. Pulmonary, pertaining to the lungs. Repolarization, cardiac recovery phase, the cells are returning to the ready state. Stroke volume, SV, the amount of blood pumped by the left ventricle with each contraction or beat. Review questions. Test your understanding of terminology and key concepts from the chapter by answering the following questions. The answers to these questions are in the answer section. 1. True or false, the main organs of the cardiopulmonary system are the heart and blood vessels. 2. True or false, the parasympathetic nervous system decreases the rate of cardiac contractions. 3. True or false, the ventricles function as reservoirs for blood. 4. True or false, contractility is an electrical function of the heart. 5. The upper chambers of the heart are known as the underscore, and the lower chambers of the heart are known as the underscore. 6. List the 3 main layers of the heart muscle. A underscore 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 on. B underscore 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 on. C underscore 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 on. 7. Identify the 4 valves within the heart. A underscore 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 on. B underscore 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 on. C underscore 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 on. D underscore 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 on. 8A. What type of blood vessels carry blood away from the heart? Underscore 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 on. B. What type of blood vessels carry blood back to the heart? Underscore 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 on. C. What type of blood vessels allow the exchange of oxygen and nutrients for waste products at the cellular level? Underscore 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 on. 9. The layer of the heart that contracts to pump blood to the lungs and throughout the body to all body cells is the underscore 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 layer. A. Endocardial. B. Myocardial. C. Epithelial. D. Epicardial. 10. Cardiac muscle tissue receives its blood supply from which of the following? A. Pulmonary arteries. B. Coronary arteries. C. Myocardial arteries. D. Coronary veins. 11. In the lungs, the exchange of oxygen from inhaled air and carbon dioxide from capillary blood takes place inside tiny sacs called underscore 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 underscore. 12. Cardiac output is determined by which of the following? A. Stroke volume multiplied by the respiratory rate. B. Stroke volume divided by the heart rate. C. Heart rate divided by the stroke volume. D. Heart rate multiplied by the stroke volume. 13. Automaticity is the ability of cardiac pacemaker cells to do what? A. Contract. B. Respond to an electrical impulse. C. Regenerate themselves. D. Initiate an electrical impulse. 14. The sympathetic nervous system. A. Decreases cardiac output and blood pressure. B. Decreases heart rate and blood pressure. C. Controls the autonomic nervous system. D. Increases heart rate, blood pressure, and the force of cardiac contractions. 15. The ability of cardiac cells to transmit an electrical impulse is called what? A. Excitability. B. Conductivity. C. Contractility. D. Automaticity. 16. Explain the following terms. A. Depolarization. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. B. Repolarization. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. 17. Trace a drop of blood from the vena cava to the aorta, inferior and superior vena cava, rightward arrow. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. 18. Trace the normal electrical conduction pathway system of the heart. Sinoatrial, SA, node rightward arrow. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. Underscore 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 on. 19. Define the following terms. A. Ischemia. Underscore 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 on. B. Myocardial infarction. Underscore 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 on. C. Stable angina. Underscore 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 on. D. Unstable angina. Underscore 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 on. 20. List 4 common symptoms of a myocardial infarction. MI. A. Underscore 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 on. B. Underscore 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 on. C. Underscore 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 on. D. Underscore 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 on. Crossword puzzle. Test your understanding of terminology and key concepts from the chapter by completing the crossword puzzle using the clues. The solution to this crossword puzzle is in the answer section. Across. 1. One of the lower chambers of the heart. 3. Ability of cardiac cells to initiate an electrical impulse. 6. Divides the right and left sides of the heart. 8. Reduce oxygen in any of the body cells. 9. SV times HR equals underscore 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 underscore. 10. Difficult or uncomfortable breathing. 14. Abnormal heart sound. 15. The underscore 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 node is the primary pacemaker of the heart. 16. The heart is enclosed in a N underscore 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 sac. 17. Middle layer of the heart muscle. 20. Ability of cardiac cells to respond to an electrical impulse. 21. Main organs of the pulmonary system. 23. Feeling of choking, suffocation, or crushing pressure and pain. 25. Ability of cardiac cells to transmit an electrical impulse to other cardiac cells. 27. Phase of readiness. 28 tiny sacs of lung tissue where exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place. Down. 2 decreased supply of oxygen to tissue. 4 the inferior returns the oxygenated blood from the lower body to the heart. 5 upper chambers of the heart. 7 ability of cardiac cells to shorten, causing the myocardium to contract. 11 part of the nervous system that raises heart rate and blood pressure, fight or flight response. 12 heart sounds are the noises caused by the normal closing of heart 13 pertaining to the heart. 17 the valve is located between the left atrium and the left ventricle. 18 the bundle of transmits the electrical impulse from the atria to the bundle branches. 19 blue-gray discoloration of skin, nail beds, and lips due to lack of oxygen. 22 the serves as an impulse delay mechanism, allowing the atria to completely contract and fully fill the ventricles. 24 largest artery in the body. 26 heart attack. Copyright Jones and Bartlett Learning.